From top of the river here in Anniston, we welcome you into the final regular season edition of the FNN Coaches Show. James Hardy, Joe Medley with you, and of course, you don't see a familiar face with us tonight. Jim Jacobs, unfortunately, at least let's just say a lower body injury, as they would term it, as far as that lower leg injury that unfortunately Jim is out with. So certainly a speedy recovery to our very own Jim Jacobs. Hope you're feeling better, and certainly always happy to have Joe Medley with us. Joe, almost seems like we just started the season about a couple months ago. We're here to the end of the regular season.
And this is the last week of the regular season. Next week is the first week of the playoffs, and it's hard to believe. It's cold outside, and it's coming in through the chimney back here. So I guess it's that time of year.
Well, it's been a pretty dry and warm football season up until the last couple of weeks or so, and it's like no transition from basically the teeth of the summer right into almost a preview of winter.
No, I was noticing this at the home too. It seemed usually you have a couple months where the air doesn't run. We went right from air conditioning to heat, but yeah, it's here, and most of the playoff matchups have been determined by now. I think we're still waiting for some things in Class 3A, but kind of dependent upon how Glencoe and Piedmont come out on Friday night, but things are pretty well set.
In fact, let's segue right into Piedmont. You were at Walter Wellborn this past Friday night as far as Piedmont's big win to at least for the Bulldogs assure at least at the very worst a share of the region championship this season. And, of course, we're going to be handing out some hardware as far as one of those special Bulldogs when it comes to our Talladega Short Track Player of the Week. Describe as far as what you saw, your observations from this past Friday night for Piedmont and Walter Wellborn.
Well, I got an eye full of Raleigh Pinto, who is and we can talk about this later closer to time when he comes on, but last year he had the amazing stat of setting the state receiving a record for receiving yards in one season. This year, it's a little different statistical circumstance for him, but the total contribution is pretty amazing when you look at it. But two punt returns, and Piedmont had 2 touchdowns before they ever took an offensive snap, and then had the 2 receiving touchdowns. So you saw a lot of him. But you also see that Piedmont defense that I think kind of flies under radar, but they're pretty darn good.
Well, I, before coming over here today, did look up as far as the comparison from last year to this year for Piedmont. And defense is where it really stands out as far as the progress they've made. They gave up 8 games of 20 points or more last year, just a couple so far this year, and think they're only giving up about 9.5 points per game or so this year.
Yeah, and too, I mean, I imagine most of the points that have been scored against them this year have been scored at times when the starters are out. Because they've had a lot of blowout wins this year. So I'm not exactly sure how many total points the starting defense has given up, but it's not been many.
And then remind us where you're going this week, Joe.
Right now, I'm looking at going to the Anniston-Jacksonville game on Thursday. Quite a few Thursday games this week. As we always have the last week of the regular season, and then I'm probably looking at Piedmont and Glencoe on Friday.
Now, we'll tell you where we're going in just a second, but speaking of Jacksonville, that's who we saw on Friday night, their trip to St. Clair County, and tell you, Joe, they had a chance certainly early on to set the tempo. In fact, they held a powerful St. Clair County offense that was scoring over 42 points per ball game to just 7 at halftime. In fact, they had multiple chances not only tie, but maybe even take the lead going into halftime. Couldn't cash in on those. And then also when even early in the fourth quarter when St. Clair County was up 13-0, Jacksonville had a chance to make it a one-score ball game late in the fourth quarter, fumbled, and they really never recovered from there.
Yeah, you go in a big game like that, turnovers are always huge, and it sounds like that they had a couple in some real big situations there where it could have kept the game more competitive than it turned out to be. But, it was 7-0 for a long – I was monitoring the score forever, and it seemed like it stayed 7-0 for a long time there from where I was at Wellborn on Friday night. But, Jacksonville's made some progress this year. They last year they were the 4th team in this region. This year I think they're the 3rd seed now. And that's progress, moving up from 5 to 5A last year.
And for Jacksonville, it's something that at least when we covered them our first time this year against Moody, that Moody head coach Jake Gaines mentioned just how much Coach Jeremy Sullivan's teams at Boaz overachieved while he was up there, and I think that's extended this year to Jacksonville. Already beat Leeds by a 30-7 score this year, and not just beat them, but really demolished them. And so I think no matter what happens Thursday and then in the postseason for Jacksonville, I think they got to think that for Jeremy Sullivan's first year, for a transition year, it's been a pretty good year for them.
Yeah, and we mentioned, they moved up to 5A last year, and we've talked about this on this program before, that 4A to 5A is usually one of the biggest jumps you make, and it looks like they're getting their footing.
And then also we'll be up at Southside for our second trip this season. And, of course, our final regular season game coming up on Friday, 6:30 for the countdown to kickoff, brought to you by Bama Sheds, and 7 o'clock when toe meets leather. Eddie Bullock and myself, along with Shasta Jones on the sidelines as Southside takes on Pell City. For Southside, this will be the regular season finale, while for Pell City, it's their final regular season tune-up before they have a tough trip to Homewood for their first round playoff game in the Class 6A playoffs. And this is that type of week, Joe, as you know all too well, for some teams, for a lot of teams really. It's that final tune-up, really final dress rehearsal before they get into postseason play. And for others, this is it for the season.
Yeah, and this is a week where you really don't want to get somebody hurt, and that there are also several teams this week that are off this week, which is typical for this time of year. Central Clay, Cherokee County, Coosa Christian, Hanley, Hope Christian, Ohatchee's done for the year, and Pleasant Valley's off, Talladega, Wadley. So a bunch of teams not playing this week, and then a bunch of teams playing Thursday games too to maybe give them that extra week of rest that extra day of rest before they play in the playoffs. I
got to imagine, Joe, for some of those teams that played those very first 10 weeks of the season but have this week off and are going to the playoffs, that even though that 10 consecutive weeks is a grind as far as not having a break during those 10 weeks, that having that week off before postseason play is a nice reward, a nice trade-off from having to play 10 straight weeks.
Yeah, if you don't play on week 0 and then play 10 straight and then take this week off, yes. but several of those teams too have played several weeks in a row, even if it wasn't 10. So it's good to have it now.
And don't forget, folks, once we do get to the postseason in 2 weeks for our FNN Game of the Week, our game coverage at 7 o'clock will transition as far as the NFHS network, according to Alabama High School Athletic Association rules. All of the game coverage from 7 o'clock forward has to air on the NFHS network. So as far as just that reminder for you, so go ahead and get your NFHS subscriptions ready for the postseason. And this is our lineup for tonight on our final week of the regular season when it comes to the FNN Coaches Show. We've got at least a couple of new teams that we haven't seen so far this week. In fact, we got Coach Rush Probst waiting in the green room as we featured the Coosa Christian Conquerors, as they've one of those teams that have finished their regular season. They'll join us next. And then Wes Tidwell from over at Ragland. Haven't seen him so far this year. They're also getting ready for the postseason, but they do have one more dress rehearsal coming up this week. And then, of course, speaking of dress rehearsals, Jonathan Miller getting ready and his Piedmont Bulldogs to take on Glencoe. And for Glencoe, Joe, it's been a really nice year for them. In fact, another program with the first-year coach that has also performed above expectations.
I'm sure that James Blanchard is smiling about what his son has done at Glencoe this year. And technically they go into this week, they could force the three-way tie in the region if they were to pull the upset at Piedmont. But and that's why their playoff opponents have not been announced yet, because you got to see where those three teams, Westbrook Christian, Piedmont, and Glencoe, are going to finish. They go into the last game of the regular season with a chance to at least play their way into a share of the region championship, which is an amazing turnaround for Glencoe.
And then, of course, you also saw Raleigh Pinto. We'll hand him this little bit of hardware here from our friends at Talladega Short Track. So looking forward to seeing Raleigh, as well as Coach Jonathan Miller and the rest of the Piedmont Bulldogs, and also Ragland. And coming up next, we're going to bring on Coach Rush Probst and the Coosa Christian Conquerors, as they will be enjoying a very nice off week going in to postseason play. They had the week off, but they've won 8 in a row. Coach Probst will break that down and a whole lot more coming up on the other side of this timeout as you're watching the FNN Coaches Show from Top of the River here in Anniston.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is the home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it for free refills throughout the year. And save every day with your Grub Mart Super Saver Card. When you're on the go, it's good to know Grub Mart has everything you need. Gas, diesel, and delicious Oleo donuts. In business over 78 years, visit your local Grub Mart today.
At Farmers and Merchants Bank, we're showing off our school spirit with our newly designed vertical Spirit debit cards. Now, these are customized with your favorite school's logo, and half of every Spirit card purchased goes toward your school. So, show off your colors and support your local school with the FNM Spirit debit card. You can learn more at fnm.bank. Member FDIC.
Family owned and operated for over 50 years, Miller Funeral Home is committed to providing families with the finest services for their loved ones.
Welcome to Calhoun County, Alabama.
Family owned and operated for over 50 years, Miller Funeral Home is committed to providing families with the finest services for their loved ones, including our newest service, Aquamation. Aquamation is a gentle, respectful, and eco-friendly alternative to flame cremation. Miller Funeral Home is the only facility in the state of Alabama that offers the Aquamation service. Call us or visit our website today to learn more about how we can serve you and your loved ones.
And we return here on the FNN Coaches Show, our final edition for the regular season. We've got one more, though, coming up next week to preview the playoff round here on FNN. James Hardy, Joe Medley, and we've got our first team to spotlight tonight as the Coosa Christian Conquerors. They've gotten to the finish line as far as the regular season, but Coach Rush Probst, I know, certainly looking forward to a lot more football coming up in a couple of weeks when the postseason begins in the Class 2A playoffs. First, Coach, a big thanks for joining us tonight.
Well, I appreciate y'all having me. It's always good to get out and things that y'all do to help high school athletes and focus on schools and programs, and you can't get enough of this. You really can't, and the recognition these players get is valuable, and we just appreciate y'all doing it. Coach, for you, at least the regular season, to the finish line, how's the season been for you and the team? Well, we started out 0-2, but we played two really good football teams. We played Pierce County down in South Georgia, a long trip, 6-hour trip. You know, Ryan Heron coaches that team, and I've known Ryan, knew his dad real well. Very successful here at Oxford. Ryan was here at Oxford, so he does a great job. We went down there and played a close ball game, led at halftime, and in the second game, but they were better than us on that particular night. And then, of course, Pell City, we have no way to should not have lost that game. We were up 2 scores with 2 minutes and led them by 2 scores most of the game. And I thought the depth at the end, and that's just making mistakes. Anytime you lose 2 onside kicks, you probably got a chance to lose, and that's about what happened. So, but then we got to turn around, guys, and reeled off 8 straight and beat a pretty good Blunt team, very talented Blunt team. And then finished up last week and beat a talented Tuscaloosa Academy down at their place. You mentioned as far as especially the non-region opponents y'all played, Tuscaloosa Academy, Pell City, Pierce County, some pretty good teams. Talk about as far as just the benefits of playing that type of competition out of your region, how that prepares you for the rest of your schedule and now going into the postseason. Well, I've always done it. You know, I did it at Hoover. I did it at Colquitt, Valdosta, and places. I just feel like if you play a tough schedule, I see coaches don't do that, but I'm going to play people that, if you go 50-50 against them or even 60-40 and you drop a game every once in a while. We played national games when I was at Hoover. We played it at Colquitt, and we played 2 a year and against some of the top 25 best teams in the country. And we won some, we lost some. But at the end, guys, it makes you so much better come region play. And I think with this situation going forward, I think our non-region opponents have gotten us to where hopefully we're better come playoff time.
Kylan Johnson is obviously the player that's getting the most attention for your team this year, and everybody that's seen him play just sees a player that's dynamic on so many levels. Just talk about what he's doing for your team this year.
He's super dynamic, Joe. I mean, I put him in probably top 10 best I've ever coached. I think he's just a 10th grader. He's a 4-star, ranked by 247. He's I don't know anything he can't do. I mean, he's a phenomenal corner. He can play nickel. He can play receiver. He can play running back. He rushed for 300 yards Friday night on 21 carries. He can play quarterback. I mean, there's a lot he can do. He's physical. He's fast. He's a track player. He runs track. You know, I think he's an SEC guy, no question about that. And, you know, I've had a lot of them. You know that, Joe. And I think if it's 17, 18 playing the NFL, and, you know, if he keeps his head straight and progresses like I think he will, he'll play on not on the next level, but the next.
Is there a player in your history that he compares to favorably?
You know, I've been asked that. He reminds you of David Palmer. You remember David Palmer that played? Yeah, that's who he reminds me of. I mean, when I saw David play and I watched Kylan play, very, very similar, because David was more physical than people gave him credit for. David could do anything. You know, play him at quarterback, put him at receiver, put him at running back, played defense, did it all, kick return, and that's Kylan. So that's who I sort of compare him to. Now, me and you are older, Joe, we remember that. But some of you know, I say David Palmer around certain people, they said, who's that? So modern day player, I don't know. I mean, he does so much, but that's the closest I could put, you know. And I've been trying to think of an Alabama player. He's different than Ryan Williams, you know, because Ryan's not a running back. Ryan's not a corner. He's not a safety. He's not, you know, all that stuff. So I'm trying to think of somebody in the last few years at Alabama, you know, would be close to him, or Auburn for that matter. And I'm trying to think of that. Y'all may know it better than I do, but probably like Waddle. Maybe not as big as the Waddle kid that's more at the Dolphins right now, but very similar to Waddle in a lot of different ways.
You mentioned David Palmer, and at least for me, that's one of the very first Alabama players I remember growing up in my childhood as far as the Gene Stallings era Alabama football. But you've been coaching in the high school ranks all throughout not only Alabama but the region about that same amount of time. Do you, as far as just your enjoyment of coaching, do you enjoy coaching players now as much as you did when you started coaching?
I think I enjoy it better and more. I think that, you know, obviously social media has changed kids in a lot of different ways, but you have to adapt, you know, and I think, you know, kids have changed a lot. And I think as a coach, you have to change with them. And you don't win today. Now, blocking and tackling still the same. But the way you approach kids, teams, groups are different now than they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, definitely 20 years ago. So, and I think each place you go, each stop that I've made, you've had to figure out a way to win. Because how we win at this place, you don't win the next place. Each place has a unique thing. Now, you got your core values. You cannot stir from your core values. But you have to figure out to be flexible, to be versatile, and how to handle players differently now than maybe we did a few years ago. But I really enjoyed that challenge. It is a challenge now. I'll give you that. It's a challenge. But I've enjoyed that, and I think it's something that sort of kept me young, kept me into it, and figured out young men and really giving them things that they need going forward. You got NIL money, guys. I mean, in Georgia, we had NIL money. And so I think NIL money's coming to Alabama eventually. And then you got the other things, the handlers and all the things now, these agents that are coming into the high school kids and talking to them prior to them getting to college. All those things are involved now that maybe wasn't. Recruiting has changed so much, guys. I could sit here, we could do a segment on what's the difference in recruiting now and 5 years ago. Completely different in so many different ways. So that's different, and that's changed. And I think the high school coaches that adapt to that will be more successful in helping their players become where they need to go. And I think it's tougher on high school coaches because now a lot of these handlers and these agents and these coaches are not spending as much time with the high school coaches as they once did. It's more direct contact. I don't really like that. I don't agree with that. I think the coach needs to be involved with that player's recruiting process because we have been there. So I've had 263 kids to sign in my career. Sign, not counting the walk-ons. And I think I've seen a lot, done a lot, and know sort of where they need to go and how their recruiting process needs to unfold. And I think if the coach is not involved, then a lot of things can happen in a negative way.
Obviously, different circumstances with how you came to coach this team this year. But
yes, sir.
How do you feel about coaching now? What's the season been like for you? Has it been a fun year? Are you any different this year than you have been in past years?
A little bit, Joe. I think I did it for the right reasons. I wanted to do it for the kids. I didn't do it for the money, obviously. So when they asked me to do it, I'd been around those kids. I sort of knew them a little bit anyway, and I felt like that they needed a guy with leadership, a guy guys I've coached in 100 playoff games. And so I felt like if we could get them to the playoffs, we would have an opportunity to go deep into it, and hopefully we will. But I really have, Joe, I've really enjoyed it. I don't think there's a lot of pressure. I don't think the pressure is there like it was at some other stops. Now coaching's coaching, and winning's winning. And it don't matter. I played at Ohatchee High School, and we battled for a state title every year. And then after I left, I ended up winning it in 77. But, I just believe coaching, whether you're at 1A or 7A, whether you're in Georgia or Alabama, still boils down to you as a coach getting your team prepared to win. Here's the key. Is you're getting your team wanting to prepare to win, or you are getting your team prepared to want to prepare. That's the difference, because you have to get your kids to understand what preparation means and how that preparation is so important. And I think that brought a lot to the table with them. So, and it's been it's been at times tough. I do things different than what they've done in the past, But I appreciate the opportunity. I've enjoyed it, and if it comes to the end next week or 5 weeks from now, then I'll step back and figure out what I'm going to do in the next chapter. But and people have asked me, Joe, what I'm going to do, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I really don't. I've got a lot of different things going, and do I go back to Georgia? Do I stay in Alabama? Do I continue to build a business that we started together? Some men in Gadsden. We got a grandson that's 7 months old. I got 2 granddaughters down in South Georgia. All my kids are gone now. So me and Steph we're by ourselves now, so we can do anything. But I'm excited of the next chapter in my life. I don't think I'm done. I don't want to be done. I'm ready to coach some more if the good Lord wants me to. And that's another thing I want to say. I think the good Lord really pulled on me on this, because I really thought about it a while. Because it wasn't until August 12th I decided to do it. So, because it is a commitment. And I have missed key months of my grandson. I hadn't seen him in 2 months. I saw him Sunday first time in 2 months. Hadn't seen my granddaughters but once this fall. So those things are different for me now. Priorities are a little bit different. And, when you have 7 children like Steph and I do, and then you got 3 grandkids, we've spent a lot of time the last few years and been able to do that. And so that part, but the demands of coaching are still, that blood still boils with me, and I still want to do it. And I thought about today, Joe. It's funny y'all asked me that. How much longer? I could see myself doing this 7, 8 more years. I really could. And so I'm healthier now, and I feel like I've been. Take care of myself. You're right. Exercise. I don't want to sit at the house. I don't. I want to continue to coach and move forward. And and I've talked to so many coaches that have retired, and then I look at them 2 years later, and they look worn to me. They look retired. I don't want to look retired. So, and I think the 2 years I was out of it, because I had COVID, nearly died in 21 now, but in 22 I just got bored, man. And I put my kids at Piedmont, let Steve coach them, because I chose Steve because I love Steve Smith and think the world of him. His character and his program was really good. But I don't know, Joe. I will see. We'll see. But I'm not done coaching. I want to coach again.
As far as this year's Coosa Christian squad, what has been the biggest reward for you in coaching this year's team?
I think the challenges of taking 14 kids. Because really, we started the season with only, like first game, we played 13 players. That's it. In the Pierce County Pell City game, we played 13 players, 14 if you count the kicker. So that's a challenge, guys. And then as the year's gone on, we've gotten it to 16 or 17. Hopefully next week we'll get it to 18 players. And so, but really it's a core of 10 seniors, about 2 or 3 juniors, and about 3 sophomores. And that's it, guys. And so the challenges of figuring out how you practice, because I've not done that ever. It's been back when I coached at Asheville that it's been like this. And even at Asheville, we had 18 or 19 kids. So back in the early 90s, when we nearly won it over there. But it's been challenging. And I think when you got 100-plus players like I've had most of my last 25 years in my career, there's a lot of organization that goes on. But you can plug people in left or right. Your practices are pretty much like a college practice. This right now, we're more just like today we went half line, perimeter right, half line, perimeter left. So things that you have to deal in 1A, 2A ball with low numbers, so you have to be creative and you have to be flexible and you have to figure you can't go too long. You'll get a kid hurt, but then you got to keep that margin of physicality, which today we did in an open week. So there's a lot of things and there's not a lot of coaches around. It's just me, 1 or 2 more on offense, 1 or 2 on defense coaches. So, you do a lot more as a 1A, 2A guy. I mean, you're taking care of fields, you're cleaning. My wife does all the nutrition. She does all the cleaning. She washes clothes. I have Spencer Orange he helps me sort of be a DFO. So I have a little bit of support people. But you're doing a lot more when you only have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys, where when you're at Hoover you got 25, 30 people, or down in Georgia you had 30 people on your staff, support staff, you got secretaries, you got everything you need. So it is more of a challenge, I think, when you're at a smaller school. But that's been fun because you're doing things now that I did when I started coaching in 1980 at Alexander, doing my practice teaching in 1981 at Heflin High School. So that sort of reminds me of all the way back there in the early 80s or maybe in the early 90s.
What would it mean to these 10 seniors to bring that first blue map to Coosa Christian, and what would it mean to you to get your 6th?
Well, it's important. I mean, I want it for them so bad. I think that's a challenge too, Joe, is we as coaches sometimes want it more than the players, because they live in the now. They don't look down 10, 20 years from now. Like I went back for a 10-year reunion in Georgia. We brought back the national championship team, and the team that we won 30 straight, won back-to-back in a tough 7A deal in Georgia. And these kids have got to understand that 10 years, 20 years from now, it's going to mean a lot more to them when they have children of their own, grandkids of their own. Because I saw people crying on October 3rd in Moultrie, Georgia. Those players were crying, and some of them had their own children now. My quarterback, who was at the Naval Academy, had his children with him, and tears flowed that night. Mine did too. And I think that sometimes you have to make these kids understand how important it is to be a state champion. They only give one of them. And so hopefully these kids can grasp that that preparation that you need, that focus for these next 38 days, because that's what it is, 38 days. And hopefully we get there. I think if we can get there, we'll have a chance to win it. But any given Friday night, you can get beat.
Coach, before we go, tell us as far as the players you brought with you tonight.
Well, we brought Colin Johnson, obviously. He's with me. My wife is with me. And Cade Mickler, our linebacker, he had 11 tackles. He's led us in tackles most of the year. He also plays tight end. He's a leader. He's a winner. He leads our defense, and he's a really good player, man. He's hard-nosed, tough kid. So those are the 3 I brought: Colin Johnson, Cade Mickler, and Stephanie Probst.
Very good, Coach. thanks for joining us, and good luck in the postseason.
Well, I appreciate y'all. Y'all did a great job tonight, and I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Coach Rush Probst with us. We'll take the time out, and we'll bring Colin and Cade as we continue our spotlight of the Coosa Christian Conquerors following this timeout.
Welcome to Calhoun County, Alabama, your natural attraction. We have invigorating outdoor activities, amazing cultural sites, mouth-watering food, and southern hospitality, all wrapped into one amazing vacation destination. Whether you're looking for a relaxing overnight getaway or for a one-of-a-kind escapade, Calhoun County boasts an incredible selection of outdoor recreational opportunities. Calhoun County is the natural attraction, centrally located between Atlanta and Birmingham, with plenty of fun and memories waiting to be made. Come to Calhoun County, Alabama, a natural attraction.
The Calhoun County Commission, made up of Fred Wilson, Danny Shears, Carolyn Henderson, Terry Howell, and Lee Patterson, ask you to take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. Our beautiful parks, neighborhoods, recreational facilities, historic sites, and museums. Our citizens enjoy a high quality of life and strongly support the arts. If you're considering expanding or starting a new business, take a look at Calhoun County. You'll be glad you did.
Griffin Laser Engraving in Lincoln is your authorized local dealer for personalized Yeti products. Get your Yeti customized for your team, a business, or a special event. Your color, graphics, even photos. At Griffin Laser Engraving, we make it the way you want it. Order just one or hundreds, and you'll find a full line of Yeti coolers and accessories on hand, even the hard-to-find items. Nationally recognized, but right here at home in Lincoln for quality awards, trophies, powder coating, and personalized Yeti items, Griffin Laser Engraving.
The FNN Coaches Show continues here from Top of the River in Anniston. James Hardy with you as we continue with our spotlight on the Coosa Christian Conquerors as they have gotten across the finish line for the regular season at 8-2 overall and a perfect 6-0 into a Region 6 as they have a much-deserved breather as far as Week 10 officially in the AHSAA regular season calendar is concerned, but they still have a lot more football to go as we bring in Colin Johnson off to my right and then Cade Mickler off to my left. A big thanks for both of you for joining us.
Yes, sir.
And then, Colin, I know just asked you prior to us going on, just how much are you just, I guess, relieved to have at least an off break coming off of 10 consecutive weeks?
I mean, it still feel like we got a game, you know. We have practice. We had practice today. It was kind of rough, you know. We ran, but we got Thursday, Friday off. So I'm very thankful for that.
Cade, happy to have a week off, especially after a big win on the road to end the regular season.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's big because we ain't got much, but we're working what we got, and we need the rest.
How's the season been for y'all? Starting with you, Cade.
I mean, it feels like every other year, for real. I mean, I don't really know how to explain it. It's just one of those. You just get the football feeling, and then I don't know. It's just been flying by though.
And then, Colin, how's the season been for you?
Had a pretty good. I've been having a pretty good regular season. You know, we started off 0-2, but we haven't lost a game, so I really think it's been good.
I know Mark O'Brien from past years in Rush Coach Probst this year, very similar as far as philosophy when it comes to wanting to get tested, especially in the non-region play. Just talk about, especially y'all had a really good opponent that, hey, there's a pretty decent chance y'all could be seeing again in the postseason. Just kind of talk about as far as just being able to go up against quality teams almost week in and week out, especially in your non-region play.
Yeah. Coach Probst helped us prep very well for that game, so we came in prepared for that game, and we just handled business.
Talk about the experience of playing under someone that has been through the wars as far as Alabama high school football, really Southern high school football, as Coach Probst has.
He's a great coach. You know, I learned a lot of fundamentals from him. He's a guidance person. Like, if you need to watch film, go to his house, like. He's a great coach and a person to be around.
And then, Cade, talk about some of the lessons, especially when it comes to football, that you've learned this year from Coach.
I mean, I learned, he's really taught us a lot, but, preparing us and just getting us ready for games, how we travel, how we prepare, like sleep, eat, drink. He's got us ready for all of that. I mean, he's just a great guy all around too, and I mean he's helped to turn a lot around too. He's great.
It sounds very structured and organized as far as the approach the coach has.
Big organized guy. That's what he likes.
Yes.
And then does the off week come at a good time for y'all?
Yeah, I mean, it's how it's been for 3 years. 3 years now. We've had week 10, get our rest and get ready for the playoffs, get our minds right. I think week 10 is the best week to have it.
Do y'all think that you are playing your best football right now?
No, but we are, but we have a lot to improve on both sides of the ball.
And then, Colin, as far as where can this team continue to go forward as you make your journey into the postseason?
I mean, like Cade said, we have a lot to improve, but it's just the small things. Our efforts there, it's nothing like big and major, just this little things that we have to do better.
What's the potential of this team in the postseason?
It's to win a state championship and go 5-0 like Coach Pro said. It's a five run that you want to get to the
state championships, what he says.
Yeah. About 5 state championships.
Does it feel real now that, especially that, hey, you've pretty much done what you've needed to do in the regular season, put yourself in position for a pretty good postseason run? Does it feel like, hey, that really the season's about to begin for y'all?
Yeah. I mean, we preach a lot about the playoff and the state championship, so he didn't got our minds right for that.
And then, Colin, just kind of take us in your journey this year as far as a football player. What were some of your goals coming into the season? Do you feel like you've at least accomplished or come close to accomplishing those?
I mean, I didn't really have no goals. Well, I had a goal on defense to get 10 picks in the regular season, but there really no goal. The main goal is to win a state championship for my team.
And then, Cade, where have you seen yourself improve from the start of the season to now?
Probably leadership role. I mean, I'm not a big talkative guy, but when it comes down to it, I mean, I feel like I've grown a lot more in that category, just getting the team on the field together and ready to go.
Who would you say on your team is your biggest vocal leader?
Probably Rad.
Zayden and Rad, our 2 D linemen, O linemen. They're just loud people.
And then, Colin, anybody that's really impressed you as far as their play this year on your team?
Yeah, like Grayson Malone, he didn't came far. LJ, them 2 good guys. Mac, this is his first varsity season, so he did pretty good for his first varsity season.
And then kind of talk about last week as far as the win against Tuscaloosa Academy. It's had kind of like you all haven't been in the HSAA really for that long, but it's turned into a pretty good program. Just kind of talk about what went right as far as your most recent win Friday.
We came out dominated. We had a great run game, so they practiced on us just by throwing the ball, but they know we had a run game, so our run game was very good.
Cade, was this one of y'all's best games of the season last week?
No,
Yeah,
not a bit.
It wasn't the best
Defense
game.
was rough, but we pulled it out. Offense definitely had the side of the ball had the game for us, but I mean defense stepped up what we needed to. We got what we needed done. We needed to eat off the field, and we didn't.
Cade, what does this team need to do to get back to the Super 7?
It's really short and sweet. We just really got to get our minds right, I feel like.
And for Coosa Christian, don't forget, this week, it's an off week for them, so they'll go right into the postseason in a couple of weeks as they'll host Isabella from out of Chilton County, as they'll have a long trip up to Etowah County to try and start their postseason journey at Coosa Christian. So, Cade, Colin, a big thanks for joining us, and good luck in the postseason, guys.
Yes, sir, thank you.
We still have a lot more to go, and don't forget when it comes to our postseason coverage here on FNN, that when it comes to 7 o'clock starting in November on Friday nights, don't forget we will be transitioning over to the NFHS network. So go ahead and get those subscriptions ready so that when we get our postseason coverage started in that first Friday of November, that you'll be ready to watch myself along with Eddie Bullock, Shasta Jones, and, of course, the players and coaches that will be spotlighting on Friday nights in November. Still more to come, as we'll have Ragland coming up and Coach Wes Tidwell coming up after this timeout. And we'll also talk with some of his players toward the top of the 8 o'clock hour. And we still have our Player of the Week to award for this week. That and a whole lot more here on the FNN Coaches Show from Top of the River.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is the home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it for free refills throughout the year. And save every day with your Grub Mart Super Saver card. When you're on the go, it's good to know Grub Mart has everything you need. Gas, diesel, and delicious Oleo donuts. In business over 78 years, visit your local Grub Mart today.
Bama Sheds and Pole Barns, locally and family owned with the best customer service. Custom built to fit your needs with free delivery and setup. Design and price online or stop by and see what we can do for you. Nobody beats our prices and nobody beats our quality. Built in Alabama, made in Alabama. BamaSheds.com.
Family owned and operated for over 50 years, Miller Funeral Home is committed to providing families with the finest services for their loved ones, including our newest service, Aquamation. Aquamation is a gentle, respectful, and eco-friendly alternative to flame cremation. Miller Funeral Home is the only facility in the state of Alabama that offers the Aquamation service. Call us or visit our website today to learn more about how we can serve you and your loved ones.
The Calhoun County Commission, made up of Fred Wilson, Danny Shears, Carolyn Henderson, Terry Howell, and Lee Patterson, ask you to take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. Our beautiful parks, neighborhoods, recreational facilities, historic sites, and museums. Our citizens enjoy a high quality of life and strongly support the arts. If you're considering expanding or starting a new business, take a look at Calhoun County. You'll be glad you did.
The FNN Coaches Show from Top of the River here in Anniston as we continue with our final edition in October. James Hardy, Joe Medley back with us, and we bring in for the first time this season Coach Wes Tidwell as his Ragland Purple Devils about ready for their regular season finale, but they'll still have more football after this week coming up thanks to their victory against Eider last week. And Coach, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having us. Glad to be here.
Talk about last week as far as the big win y'all got.
Yeah, you know, we played pretty well in the second half last week and kind of secured a playoff spot, so that's huge for us. And we've got, you know, the last few weeks we've started to improve a little bit, and hopefully we can continue that the next couple weeks as well. We're a young team, and anytime you're a young team that you know, if you guys do what they're supposed to do, you'll get better as the year goes, and that's kind of what's happened with a lot of our young guys, and that's helped us to get where we are.
You won 3 out of the last 4. Obviously, you know, beating Valley Head was big because that's the team that's next to you in the standings. But,
right.
But just what have you all figured out, you know, this last half of the season?
Well, again, it's kind of kids growing up a little bit, you know, that we needed to. Again, we start a lot of really young guys, and anytime you play young guys, most of the time when they get more experience, they get better, you know, better reps, and you start to get better reps out of them, and that's kind of, you know, catapulted us to the second half of the season. We got some guys that have really grown up and started, you know, playing some roles for us that we really needed early in the year, but they were just, you know, they were young at the time, so it takes a little growing pains, so to speak, but real proud of our entire team, but you know, we still got to continue to get better, but we have improved the last few weeks, so I'm very proud of that.
What are the biggest areas of improvement over the last few weeks that you've seen from your team?
Yeah, well, you know, up front, everything starts up front, and we're extremely young and pretty small up front, but our guys have really kind of figured some stuff out. We've, you know, it's all about chemistry up front. You know, that's one of those spots you don't ever interchange guys. You kind of need 5 guys that work together, and so they've really started to improve up front. Our tailback, you know, he's consistent. He's always good, so we've gave him a little bit of space, and he makes us look really good. So that's just a few of the areas we've improved in, but Up front, I feel like our guys have got a lot better the last few weeks.
A lot of teams take this week off. You've got the game with Decatur Heritage here at home. What are you hoping to get out of that? What are you hoping to see out of your team?
Well, to be honest with you, I'd love to have this week off too, but it's just the way the schedule fell. It didn't really work for us. So luckily, I called Decatur Heritage, kind of at the last minute because we both really needed a game, and it was Coach Stover at the time, and we scheduled it. So, I'm glad that we were able to fill our schedule, but at this point in the season, you kind of want to try to work on a few things, clean up a few things, but mainly you got to stay healthy, so you want to try to, you do some things, but you're not going to do a whole lot of new stuff, this week. Just try to get your kids in and out of the game and get some good reps and hopefully stay healthy for the next week.
And you mentioned Decatur Heritage team you played a couple of times, including in the playoffs just a few years ago. Any differences from this year's Decatur Heritage team as an opponent that you all saw the prior 2 times?
Yeah, so we played them my first year here, and they put up 70 points against us, and that was one of the craziest games I've ever been a part of. And then we played them again last year, in the regular season, and they beat us. It was a pretty tough game. They scored late, but it was a good football game. But they're similar to us this year. They're young, and he's playing a lot of young guys too. But they've got better as well. So it's a different looking Decatur Heritage team than we've seen. But they do some stuff. They throw the football a lot, something we don't see a ton, in our region. So that's something different, which is good for us. We need to see it going in the playoffs. So it'll be a little bit different look from them, but. We still expect them to show up over here and give us a go for sure.
You've won 3 of your last 4. Talk about some of the players that have helped you get to the point to where, hey, y'all will be playing some postseason football in 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, when you talk about us, you talk about Aaron Lee first. He's our tailback. He's been with us. He's been here ever since I've been here. And, he's had 1,000 yards the last 3 seasons. He went over 1,000 Friday night. Kid's very, very good, very good. Again, you got guys up front. Our offensive line with Sean Hawkins, Jackson Robinson, Grayson Hay, Braxton Crow, Riley Sears. Those guys have got tremendously better. 2 of the guys I brought with me tonight, extremely proud of them. Hunter Nolan is with us that started the year playing quarterback, and we had an injury a couple weeks ago against Appalachian. And he broke his hand, so obviously he can't play quarterback, but extremely proud of him because he's just been like, put me wherever I can help, and you need guys willing to do that, and he's stepped up and done that. Dante Smith is the other guy that's been with us. He's playing corner and a little bit of tailback for us as well. Has got, tenfold better as the season went on. Proud of all those guys. We got some young guys like we talked about. We got 2 twins. One of them's playing quarterback right now, Cody and Kobe Embry, and one of them's playing receiver. And those 2 guys have come a long way. We got another 8th grader that starts in nose guard, Chris Gullidge, has played tremendous the last couple of weeks. So it's a group effort for us. There's not an extreme standout guy. It's a whole, by committee.
You mentioned as far as really a young roster that you have this year, but on the flip side, as far as the experience, the positive experience over the last few weeks, how much does that set up as far as having a positive, bright future going forward over the next couple of years?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly right. You got a bright future for sure. Those guys just got to continue to improve, and and this did them some good to get a couple wins late and see that we're kind of turning that corner. So. I've always said if you have to play at a young age, you're going to have to take lumps, but it helps you when you get older to understand, what it's like, and that experience is invaluable. So that's been a big improvement for us, is just getting a little bit more experience as we go with those young guys.
This is your 5th year at Raglan and 5 for 5 making the playoffs, even though you've had some player turnover and had some young guys have to step up this year. Just what do you feel like you've established there?
Well, you're right. It seems like every year, we've started over, and I don't mean necessarily just young guys, but guys with not a lot of football experience. So it's almost like you're coming in new every year, having to reinstall stuff. And but again, they're resilient. Kids have been resilient. The community's resilient, and they continue to battle. And we've done. I'm extremely proud this year because I'm gonna be honest, going into this season, as many young guys we were playing, I didn't feel like we'd be sitting here right now. But they've surprised me, and they've got better, and they've answered the call, and that's a credit to the young guys as well as the few old guys we have that just continue to battle.
So do you feel like this team has overachieved this year relative to expectations?
I think from where we are right now, from where I thought we were going to be when we started, yes. I don't think we've overachieved. I think I kind of underestimated us. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we've hit our peak by any means, but I think that I didn't see us making the kind of jump, improvement-wise that we've made. So I think I really just kind of underestimated some of those young guys, and we've got more out of them than we thought we would. So, I feel like we're in a good spot for the future.
Talk about the rewards as far as for you coaching at a program like Ragland.
Yeah, so, it's a great community, great school, great administration. We have, we started with Miss Ball, and she was phenomenal, and then we have Mr. Huffstetler, Miss Harris. They're there now, are doing a great job, and, it's a consistent administration that helps anywhere you go. The community is very supportive. They love football. They love all their sports, but, great community to be in on Friday nights. People are, have been good to me and my family since we've been there, so it means a lot to kind of stick it out through some of these tough times and come out on a good side of it. So extremely proud to be there.
Tough times. Obviously, there's been some speculation about the future of the school. Right. What's it been like to operate within that? Yeah,
it's tricky for sure because you're constantly fighting losing kids because of that, and that's been a big issue for us. So I've never in my life had to deal with anything like this, but I think it's made me better. I think it's made me better as a person, for one, most importantly, and as a football coach, because you got to kind of adapt and overcome, and that's what we've done, and that's what our kids are doing. So, it's things are looking up for us right now. Numbers are up a little bit, and then we got a little more support. So I feel like we've kind of turned that corner a little bit. So hopefully we can put some of that to bed and just foster along some of these young guys and build something.
Before we go and bring Hunter and Dante on, what's the best part of coaching those two?
Just like we talked about earlier, their willingness to do what it takes to win. It doesn't matter if they're touching the ball, not touching the ball. Dante's a kid. This is his first year to be with us. We've had some issues getting him eligible and stuff like that. But this kid is you're going to see when you talk to him. I love the kid. He's funny. He's a lot of fun to coach, and he's kind of turned that corner for sure. He's a better student now. He's been a great teammate. Hunter, like I said, went through an injury and has to move from quarterback to doing some stuff that's not necessarily involved every play, and he's willing to do it. He told me we had a couple O linemen sick. He said, "Put me there, I'll play it." And if you get a kid like that, you can do a lot of things with a team because that's what builds a team.
Coach, good to see you as always, and certainly good luck this week in your final regular season game and in the postseason in a couple weeks.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us.
Absolutely. Our spotlight of Ragland continues on the other side of this time. Addis will bring Hunter Nolan and Dante Smith on as the FNN Coaches Show continues from top of the river in Anniston.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is the home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it for free refills throughout the year. And save every day with your Grub Mart Super Saver card. When you're on the go, it's good to know Grub Mart has everything you need. Gas, diesel, and delicious Oleo donuts. In business over 78 years, visit your local Grub Mart today.
At Farmers and Merchants Bank, we're showing off our school spirit with our newly designed vertical Spirit debit cards. Now, these are customized with your favorite school's logo, and half of every Spirit card purchased goes toward your school. So, show off your colors and support your local school with the FNN Spirit debit card. You can learn more at fnn.bank. Member FDIC.
Family owned and operated for over 50 years, Miller Funeral Home is committed to providing families with the finest services for their loved ones, including our newest service, Aquamation. Aquamation is a gentle, respectful, and eco-friendly alternative to flame cremation. Miller Funeral Home is the only facility in the state of Alabama that offers the Aquamation service. Call us or visit our website today to learn more about how we can serve you and your loved ones.
The FNN Coaches Show here from Top of the River in Anniston, capital for catfish, and our part of the Yellowhammer State. James Hardy back with you as we continue our spotlight on the Purple Devils, a unique nickname as far as the Alabama high school scene is concerned. Ragland at 4-5 overall, 3-3 in 1A Region 8. But, of course, with that 3-3 record, that means that's more than good enough to get into the postseason in a couple of weeks. Still, Decatur Heritage coming up on Friday, and we have Hunter Nolan off to my left, and then Dante Smith off to my right. Big thanks for both of you for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Let's start with you, Hunter. Obviously, the first thing we noticed is, as far as that cast on your hand, tell us how that occurred and how that's been doing the last few weeks.
It was an incident. It wasn't during the game. It was later after a game. It was a personal issue. Wouldn't want to speak on that, but we're all good. I'm still playing. That's all that matters.
Hey, as long as your team is there. But talk about just as far as how the season's gone for you overall, though.
It's gone pretty good. Won our first game, Donahoe. We were a little bit on a losing streak there for a minute, but we came back after we beat Valley Head, which was a region game. It was our first region win, so that was pretty good for us.
And then, Dante, how's your season been?
It's been a great season. I've had fun every single game we've played, and like you said, we won our first game. We was on a little bit of a losing streak, but we picked it back up, and we're doing great now.
What's been the most fun for you about finally being able to get to the starting blocks this year and be able to contribute for your team?
It's been, I'd say my favorite part is probably running the ball. I've been able to run the ball. I just like hitting people, so that's been really fun. That's been really great. And, yeah.
I imagine you're a pretty physical runner then.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And then where do you think you've been able to make your most improvement this year as a football player?
Mainly really in the weight room and on defense, at playing corner, learning all the plays and stuff. When I first started, it was kind of hard, Roger this and Louis that, but I got the hang of it, and we're doing great now.
You like playing both sides of the ball?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Offense or defense, your favorite side?
Ooh, I like offense a little bit more only because I get to run.
And, of course, get to score when
yes, sir.
A lot of the time,
yes,
I imagine. And, Hunter, same for you, offense or defense, your favorite side of the ball?
I love offense. I played QB until I hurt my hand, but now I'd probably say now it's defense. I get to be physical. I get to go as hard as I can now.
And then, at least since the injury, what have you seen as far as the adjustments you've had to make as far as playing with that on the football field?
To be honest with you, after getting injured, I feel like I've been a more physical, tough player. I've increased dramatically on defense. Last game I had about 6 or 7 tackles, actually. Before then, I had 8 or 9, and I've done a lot better than I have since the beginning of the season.
I know Coach Tidwell told us that kind of a slow start, especially with a young team, but you'll have to use some of those growing pains as far as playing some of your best football in the season. What's kind of, as far as Hunter, just what are some of those improvements? What's been the difference as far as the last few weeks that has gotten you all the wins that you've needed to put yourself into postseason play?
The difference between when we were losing and now we're winning is what you're trying to ask?
Yes.
The changes we've made, we have changed dramatically up front. At the beginning of the season, I'm not going to speak poorly on my O-line, but not much time to get to where we need to be and be able to throw the ball, but we have dramatically increased on that. And that's a big thing that helped us and the reason we're scoring a lot now. Absolutely.
Dante, would you agree with that as far as just the overall evolving of your team this year?
I definitely do. The line has got way better, and that's a very great thing.
And then talk about as far as the message Coach Tidwell has provided for you all as far as this week. I know really not that much as far as actual postseason implications. Says, hey, still regular season game important as far as getting yourself ready for your first postseason postseason game in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Talk about the message as far as the coach is giving y'all as far as this week.
He's really been trying to get us to lock in and focus, for the upcoming game, especially against Addison, because it's really important, just make sure we focus, and especially at practice. Every rep matters and stuff like that.
And then, Hunter, talk about as far as talk about your pregame routine as far as what maybe some things you do to get yourself ready for a game every week.
What I do for a game, I sit around. A lot of it has to do with just staying calm. Don't overthink anything. Just play your game the way you know to play your game. Lock in. Don't be goofing off, and understand your game.
And then I know Coach mentioned that Dante, pretty funny guy. Is that true?
Oh yeah, he's hilarious when he needs to be.
What's the funniest thing about him?
Funniest thing about Dante?
Yes.
Oh, his laugh. Wait till you hear his laugh.
Oh yeah. Are you? How much are you told that as far as I guess how funny you are, and your I guess the ability maybe to kind of loosen up the locker room a little bit.
I get told that pretty often. It's just once I get started and get to laughing, it gets pretty bad.
I imagine you enjoy being out there though with your teammates.
I do.
So talk about as far as maybe some of the goals that you set for yourself this year, and if you've been able to accomplish those.
Well, yeah, I've accomplished a lot of my goals. When I first started this summer, I really only wanted to score one touchdown. And I've got me a couple, and that's all I really, that's what I was aiming for. And I'm getting stronger in the weight room. So, squat went up, bench is going up, and that's pretty much, those really were my goals, just to get stronger and be good.
Looking forward to getting to the postseason in a couple weeks?
Absolutely, but I'm worried about this game right here, right now. About 2 or 3 years ago, they put up 70 on us. Ever since then, we have something for them.
I imagine y'all are ready for them for Decatur Heritage Friday night. In fact, we'll let you continue as far as getting ready for Friday night. Certainly a big thanks for joining us tonight, and a good luck Friday and coming up in the postseason in 2 weeks.
Sir.
So both Hunter Nolan and Dante Smith join us from Ragland as we'll continue as far as the final 30 minutes of tonight's edition of the FNN Coaches Show. Coach Jonathan Miller with Piedmont, and, of course, we still have a little hardware to take care of before we reach the finish line tonight. So more to come, including Coach Jonathan Miller on the other side of this timeout.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is the home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it for free refills throughout the year. And save every day with your Grub Mart Super Saver Card. When you're on the go, it's good to know Grub Mart has everything you need. Gas, diesel, and delicious Oleo donuts. In business over 78 years, visit your local Grub Mart today.
Bama Sheds and Pole Barns. Locally and family owned with the best customer service. Custom built to fit your needs with free delivery and setup. Design and price online or stop by and see what we can do for you. Nobody beats our prices and nobody beats our quality. Built in Alabama, made in Alabama. BamaSheds.com.
Family owned and operated for over 50 years, Miller Funeral Home is committed to providing families with the finest services for their loved ones, including our newest service, Aquamation. Aquamation is a gentle, respectful, and eco-friendly alternative to flame cremation. Miller Funeral Home is the only facility in the state of Alabama that offers the Aquamation service. Call us or visit our website today to learn more about how we can serve you and your loved ones.
The Calhoun County Commission, made up of Fred Wilson, Danny Shears, Carolyn Henderson, Terry Howell, and Lee Patterson, ask you to take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. Our beautiful parks, neighborhoods, recreational facilities, historic sites, and museums. Our citizens enjoy a high quality of life and strongly support the arts. If you're considering expanding or starting a new business, take a look at Calhoun County. You'll be glad you did.
Final 30 minutes of tonight's edition of the FNN Coaches Show from the top of the river here in Anniston. James Hardy with you, Joe Medley back with us, and Coach Jonathan Miller from Piedmont with us as Piedmont remains undefeated at 9-0 on the season. Their regular season finale coming up on Friday against Glencoe, but imagine a whole lot more football to come right after that. Coach Miller joins us. First off, well done so far on a good start this year, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, we're pleased, obviously, with where we're at. It's been a good year so far, but, you got to finish strong. We put ourselves in good position to do that. But like you said, we hope there's a lot of football ahead of us, and we'll see, what happens this week and, kind of headed into the playoffs, see where we stand, and hopefully make a run.
Yeah, this game, if you go back in preseason, wasn't seen as big a game as it's shaped up to be. As you look at this Glencoe team compared to the one you prepared for this time last year, what do you see on film that looks so much obviously improved?
Well, they've just had a big turnaround. Obviously, the results speak for themselves. Got some speed. A few additions to their team have helped them, and I think they always had a good young nucleus that they liked. They just added a few pieces here and there, and done a good job coaching and playing, and they've had a good year.
Talk about Raleigh Pinto, another big game this past Friday night against Walter Welborn. What makes him so special as a football player?
A lot of things, but just the big play ability. I think that's the biggest thing. As a team, you want those guys that can make big, explosive plays, and obviously he can do that in a number of areas. In the kick return game, offensively, obviously with the ball in his hands. So he's done a good job of that, making people pay when they kick it to him. Also in special teams.
I got to give your stats guy, Joe Spivey, for some credit for sending me some factoids here. But 21 total touchdowns, 2 touchdowns on kickoff returns, 3 on punt returns, 1,033 total yards, 1,409 all-purpose yards, 24.3 yards every time he touches it.
It's pretty good.
Just speak to the total contribution there and maybe how that might differ from how his contribution looked like last year.
Well, I think one thing, this has been the most unique offensive year of my coaching career because we've ran the fewest plays of any season, if that makes sense. We've been able to get out to some big leads. We've returned some kicks for touchdowns, special teams-wise. So, there's been several games this year where we've had, 30 offensive plays or 39 offensive plays, and even less than that with the starters. So, Raleigh's numbers and really everybody else on our offense across the board could be better, but we just haven't ran, very many plays. So that's been the biggest difference. And, I think the thing with Raleigh, he's still averaging 24 every time he touches it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number we look at, So he's not gotten as many opportunities, but it's just been a different type of year, So I feel like our team's fresh. That's one good thing that's come out of this, and hopefully less wear and tear on us. And, I think, that could bode well for us, in the playoffs.
Do you feel like this year you've been able to develop with that the type of depth that you want to be able to build?
We've got good depth, and then, our JV kids have actually been beat up more than our varsity kids because we've played 7 JV games, and then they've been, been able to get playing time a lot on Friday night. So they've played a lot of football this year. So in some cases more than our older kids. So been a good year development-wise for our younger guys.
And then you mentioned as far as the games that you may only get like 30, 35, 40 plays in, but at least statistically, your defensive numbers as far as the points you've allowed, they've actually gotten a lot better since last year. Talk about as far as the progression your defense has been able to make this year.
We returned a lot of guys that got significant playing time off of last year's team. And really this year we have 7 seniors total, so we'll return a lot of guys, experienced guys next year too. But, I think especially like at the inside backer spots, Bentley Chandler, Chase Kirkpatrick have had really good years for us. And they started as sophomores, and this is their junior season, and they've played really, really well. Another guy, Carson Sanders, also started for us last year as a sophomore, and he played one of his best games Friday night against Welborn. So, just a lot of development across the board out of those guys. I think our D-line's played, well most of the time, and we're a little bit smaller up front, but those guys have made a lot of plays for us.
87 points given up for the year, and I would imagine a lot of that was after the starters were out of a lot of these games. You mentioned Bentley Chandler. You coached a lot of basketball. Would you call that thing he had last week a fumble recovery, a steal? How would you classify that?
I think I call that a steal. So, Bentley's had the ball in his hands a lot this year somehow. I don't know how, but he's had a couple of interceptions, a couple of fumble recoveries, and whatever we call that from last week. So he's done a good job. We've done a good job across the board with takeaways. Just across the board defensively.
Talk about Glencoe coming up, your final regular season opponent. At least on paper coming into this year, not really expected to do much, but they've had a really good season. Talk about as far as the type of opponent that they bring as far as the challenge that y'all will face this week.
Well, I think it's good for us. We've ended the season with 2 playoff teams, Welborn last week, and get an opportunity to play Glencoe this week, and it'll get us hopefully be a playoff-type atmosphere Friday night at the Field of Champions and against a good team, and get our guys ready for the start of the playoffs. And they bring a lot of challenges. They've got some explosion offensively. Quarterback can throw the ball. Running backs run it hard. They're good up front. So big challenge for us. But if we want to be the team that wins the region and makes a run in the playoffs, this is a game we need to win.
You think your team's best football is still ahead of you?
I hope it is. I hope that's where the wear and tear comes in. Not being as beat up this time of year. I do feel like we're fresh. So pretty much injury free. We lost a offensive lineman Westbrook game to an ACL, so that's about our only injury, so far this season. So I feel like we're in pretty good shape there too. So, a lot of football, left to be played. Playoff type game Friday night, and then, that'll get us going into the playoffs.
How's Cole Austin developed at quarterback this year?
Just as we expected. He does a lot of things pretty well. He's done a great job throwing the football. Getting it out to our playmakers, and he can do some things with his legs when the opportunity arises, and just overall, I think the biggest, being a young kid, a sophomore, just the overall grasp of what we're trying to do offensively. He's got a good handle on that, and I think that helps slow him down some mentally on Friday nights and just lets him go out and play.
You think, as far as you mentioned, playoff, Glencoe will be making the playoffs regardless of what happens after this week. Do you see this as a beneficial thing as far as just a kind of a dress rehearsal for your team going into the postseason?
Yeah, playing a good opponent, with something on the line Friday night. So, that's, we did go a few weeks without, we played some of the bottom teams in the region or whatever. So, to end it with a couple playoff teams is good for our team to kind of gear back up and get ready to go for the playoffs.
And then talk about as far as just senior night. I know you mentioned you've got a lot of young pieces coming back for next year, but as far as your seniors, just talk about as far as maybe some of the emotions with senior night coming up, even though y'all will likely have some postseason home games coming up, but just kind of talk about as far as just maybe some of the emotions coming up with senior night.
Yeah, it's a good group. Those kids have meant a lot to the Piedmont football program and the community. Been great examples of being a student athlete and represented our school and football program in a first class fashion. So that's first and foremost. And then those guys have had good seasons. Just about every one of them across the board have improved over last year and have had really good starts to the season, but we also need to finish strong.
What's been the most rewarding aspect for you of coaching this year's team?
You always like to see growth. Guys improve, get better, develop, those type of things. And we've really had, a lot of guys have developed, over the past year. And, like I said earlier, a lot of guys got experience last year. And, that's very valuable. So, that kind of bled over into this year, and I think we've got a lot of kids that have developed and improved and have had really good seasons for us.
And then we've got Raleigh coming up on the other side of this break. We know about Raleigh, the football player. Talk about as far as what's the best aspect of Raleigh, the person?
He's extremely, good with kids. He's got a younger brother that is obviously looks up to him, and a lot of the kids in the Piedmont community do as well. And he always takes time with the kids, good to them, and I think he's been a great example for his younger brother and really everybody in our community and our school football team. Just the way he fought back as a sophomore with a season ending injury, and just was a good example of handling adversity and coming back bigger, better, and stronger.
And then talk about the other players that you brought with you tonight.
Yeah, Bentley Chandler's here with us tonight. Second year starting as our Mike linebacker. He's a really good player. He was All-State honorable mention last year, and he certainly had a good start to this year, and one of the leaders of our defense. And then Cole Austin, our quarterback, is here. Obviously Cole's had a nice season for us. He's done a good job, spreading the ball around to our playmakers, and has got a great handle on our offense.
Coach, good luck Friday night. I imagine probably a pretty decent chance you'll be seeing your team in the postseason as far as in front of our FNN cameras, and certainly good luck in the postseason, Coach.
Thank you.
Absolutely. More to come. In fact, we'll be awarding our little bit of hardware here as far as the FNN Player of the Week to Raleigh Pinto, courtesy of our friends at Talladega Short Track, as we will reach the finish line here on the other side of this timeout as you are watching the FNN Coaches Show from Top of the River here in Anniston.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is the home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it for free refills throughout the year. And save every day with your Grub Mart Super Saver card. When you're on the go, it's good to know Grub Mart has everything you need. Gas, diesel, and delicious Oleo donuts. In business over 78 years, visit your local Grub Mart today.
At Farmers and Merchants Bank, we're showing off our school spirit with our newly designed vertical Spirit debit cards. Now, these are customized with your favorite school's logo, and half of every Spirit card purchased goes toward your school. So, show off your colors and support your local school with the FNM Spirit debit card. You can learn more at fnm.bank. Member FDIC.
Family owned and operated for over 50 years, Miller Funeral Home is committed to providing families with the finest services for their loved ones, including our newest service, Aquamation. Aquamation is a gentle, respectful, and eco-friendly alternative to flame cremation. Miller Funeral Home is the only facility in the state of Alabama that offers the Aquamation service. Call us or visit our website today to learn more about how we can serve you and your loved ones.
Welcome to Calhoun County, Alabama, your natural attraction. We have invigorating outdoor activities, amazing cultural sites, mouth-watering food, and southern hospitality, all wrapped into one amazing vacation destination. Whether you're looking for a relaxing overnight getaway or for a one-of-a-kind escapade, Calhoun County boasts an incredible selection of outdoor recreational opportunities. Calhoun County is the natural attraction, centrally located between Atlanta and Birmingham, with plenty of fun and memories waiting to be made. Come to Calhoun County, Alabama, a natural attraction.
And we welcome you back to our final segment tonight for the FNN Coaches Show. As we close out the regular season, we'll be back at least for one more Coaches Show next week at this time to preview the postseason. And, of course, the Piedmont Bulldogs, a tradition of excellence in the postseason over almost 2 decades now, and looking to continue that. But they've got one more regular season game to go this Friday night at 7 o'clock at the Field of Champions against Glencoe. But we have a little hardware to hand out as far as one of our area's top players, as we'll go ahead and hand our FNN Player of the Week to Raleigh Pinto. And, of course, doing his usual thing as far as racking up the points on the board. 6 catches, 125 yards, 2 touchdown receptions, throw in a couple of punt return touchdowns. That equals a big night and a big W for Piedmont. Raleigh, congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Talk about the win this past Friday.
It was a good win. It was a statement win. And it's always a good day when you beat Welborn. So I'm very proud of our team and, what we were able to do. And our defense shut them out, and our defense has been playing lights out all year, and it's easy to score points when you have a great defense. So
I know. In fact, I was talking with Coach Miller prior to y'all coming on, and at least just statistically, looking at the very surface level as far as your team's profile, it seems as if that's one of those areas that's really made a lot of improvements from last year to this year.
For sure, and we preach every day just come in and work hard and stay focused, and everything will just kind of work itself out.
Before we bring Bentley and Cole fully on, talk about your 2 teammates that you got with you tonight.
They represent our program well, and I'm very glad they came. Cole is our quarterback, and he's just great with the football, throwing the ball and running the ball, and he's the smartest kid probably on our team. So, Bentley.
What makes Cole so smart?
He's got a good ACT score, I know that, but he's very smart outside of football. But on football, I think during practice today, he made like a check. He was just checking with the coaches. He makes checks and he makes reads on his own, and he has really good football IQ.
And then talk about Bentley.
Bentley, he leads our team in interceptions, I'm pretty sure, and he has a fumble recoveries too. And Bentley is a good example of the Piedmont football program. He's a hard-nosed, just great player for us, and he's our leader on defense. So.
And then, Cole, first off, excellent season so far, of course, for you and your team. A perfect 9-0 going into the end of the regular season on Friday. How enjoyable has the season been for you, especially that this has been your first year as a starting quarterback?
It's been really fun this year, just being able to go out there and play with everybody. And then the older guys just keeping me up. And, if I make a mistake or anything, they're just always there picking me up when I make a mistake. And it's just been really great this year.
Where has your biggest growth area been at quarterback?
Probably just reading defenses and throwing the ball. At the beginning of the season, I didn't throw the ball very good, but we've been just working at it each and every day, and then I've started throwing the ball a lot better.
And then I imagine having someone like Raleigh to help at least throw the football to, give the football to, basically get him the football in many, many ways to be able to put points on the board helps out a lot as well.
It does. Having him and then the O-line up front, just being able to give me time to get the ball to him, and it starts with those guys up front, and they work hard each and every week just like everybody else. And without those guys, we weren't able to get the ball to Raleigh, and then once you get it to Raleigh, just let him go and play.
And then talk about what it's like being a quarterback in Jonathan Miller's offense.
It's fun. It's challenging at the beginning, just sort of picking up on everything. There's some more reads and different things, but it's a lot. Once you pick up on it, I like it a lot, and it's really fun.
Is it a fairly complicated offense for the quarterback, especially when you're young in the system?
Maybe the first year, but last year coach did a good job of getting the twos, and they work really good with the twos all as we get older and teaching it as soon as we get in ninth grade and everything, and then we just learn it throughout the high school and get better and better.
What makes Raleigh such a special football player, especially as a teammate?
Probably just he's a really good teammate, just how he picks up everybody. He's always just doing the little things. Like today I came in and he's already cleaning the locker room by himself, just there, making sure everything's picked up before we start practice. And it's just the little things like that I think is what makes him a really good teammate.
And then let's get Bentley on. Let's get him in. How's the season been for you?
It's been interesting for sure. I've had a few pretty cool plays here and there.
What's the most memorable play that you've had, at least up to now?
Probably, my first touchdown. I got a pick six earlier this year against Ohatchee. That was pretty sick.
So kind of describe that pick six that you're talking about.
Well, really, they run a wing T offense, so when they're throwing the ball, it's kind of obvious. So I just read the play, and the quarterback kind of put it right in my hands, and I took off.
I imagine even then, whenever they do throw the ball and someone like you gets a chance to score, that it's still probably maybe even a little more special that they don't throw the ball that much, but when you do, you take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's right. I ran as fast as I could. I was not getting tackled.
And then just kind of talk about some of the overall the progress that you've made as a defensive player this year.
I think I've made a lot of progress as far as my reading and trying to put a little weight on in the off season, a little strength and all that kind of stuff.
And then describe as far as just how special has it been to play as far as just another, at least up to now, another undefeated regular season? Of course, a lot of expectations that come with the program, but just kind of talk about how special this team has been.
I mean, it's incredible to be on two hopefully undefeated teams, but that's always been the standard at Piedmont, and we're just going to keep on that rolling.
Talk about the responsibility that it is as far as your role in making sure that standard that Piedmont has set for a long time now, that it's still being met.
Me and Cole here, we're actually both managers on the football team when we won it in 19. So we've always been growing up with winning traditions, and we just want to keep that rolling.
And then, Raleigh, I know Coach mentioned as far as just not only for this team, the younger players on the team, but also the community, that you're kind of a role model figure as far as the Piedmont community. How seriously do you take that type of leadership responsibility?
I take it very serious, and when they look up to me and what I do, I just want to just see a hardworking man and just a good role model for them.
Y'all's best football still to come?
For sure. I don't think we're playing our best football yet, but I definitely think we're going to get there.
For you, you've scored a bunch this year. I know there's at least one play, at least as far as the Westbrook Christian game, that we can, especially my color analyst Eddie Bullock, can remember, as far as your 81-yard touchdown run where you just kind of glided through to let that play develop and then use that speed to take off for everyone. But as far as just this year, is there any touchdown or two or however many that really stick out to you that you've scored this year?
I think probably the Westbrook play you was talking about. That was probably my favorite play. Just, running as fast as I could and, getting some of the momentum, because they scored. I think they scored before that, so we got some of the momentum back, and it was just cool just scoring in a big game like that.
How enjoyable has it been for you as far as just playing on this year's team, and where does this team compare as far as maybe the talent that you've played as far as some of the other Piedmont teams you've been a part of?
I think this one is probably near the top, if not the top. I mean, this team is very talented, and I love being a part of this program. It's just second to none. I mean, it's just great. So.
And then talk about as far as I know senior night coming up on Friday, but I know y'all still have a lot more football to come. But just kind of talk about as far as coming up on what will be the final regular season game of the season Friday.
I mean, it's gone by fast. It feels like yesterday we was playing against Cherokee County, first game. So it's definitely gone by quick, and we're going to play our hardest.
And then, Cole, just talk about the challenges coming up this week as we bring Cole Austin back in. Just some of the challenges coming up for y'all this week against Glencoe on Friday.
They have a really good defense, or defensively front, and we know that. And it's going to challenge our O-linemen this week, but I think those guys just keep working like they do every other week, and they'll do a really good job this year.
Friday will be senior night and the final regular season week of the season for Piedmont, as well as the rest of the state of Alabama will be over at Southside, at least from Piedmont, over on Highway 278, and then right along the banks of the Coosa River, Southside and Pell City. Our countdown to kickoff presented by Bama Sheds at 6:30. Toe Meets Leather at 7 o'clock. And we'll be right back here next Tuesday when it comes to our final edition of the FNN Coaches Show from Top of the River. A big thanks to all of our teams. Piedmont, of course, a big thanks and congratulations as well to Raleigh Pinto for being our FNN Player of the Week, as well as a big thanks to Rackland Coosa Christian for joining us. So for Joe Medley, Jake, Simon, and the rest of our FNN crew, James Hardy wishing you a great Tuesday evening as you have been watching the FNN Coaches Show from Top of the River.